Welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha, a podcast shared by David Roylance. This podcast is dedicated to guiding you to completely eliminate the discontent mind and the suffering it causes by attaining enlightenment. Learn and practice the teachings of Gautama Buddha that will guide you to fully attain a peaceful, calm, serene, and content mind with joy. To support this podcast, visit patreon.com/support Buddha or visit buddhadailywisdom.com, where you will discover a full range of courses, retreats, and online learning resources to assist you on the path to enlightenment. Now, here's our teacher to share more.
Sawadee Kap. Hello and welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha. Today is our group learning program, and I'm in part 3 of a 4-part series where I'm gradually helping students to build up their breathing mindfulness meditation practice. So welcome to our class today. Whether you're joining for the first time or you're joining regularly, what I'm going to do is just do the chanting to ease into the meditation. I'm going to provide some guidance during the meditation. Then there'll be a period of time where it's just quiet and we're all meditating together. Then I'm going to come out of the meditation with some more chanting. Each week now, I'm just kind of elongating the meditation longer and longer and longer. Where the first 2 sessions I taught meditation, now we're just doing it, and then I'm going to open up to any questions that you guys have related to the meditation, or really anything that you guys would like to ask questions about. So whether you're in Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, you'll be able to ask questions after our meditation. So if you'd like to join for meditation, you might pull up a meditation cushion or whatever it is that you normally use for meditation, and you're welcome to join along in the chanting as I start with the chanting. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Bhutang Bhagavanang Apivateyami Savakato Bhagavata Tammo Dhammang namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti piso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vicacaranang sammuno Sakato rokavitu Anutero purisa Dhamma sati satatawa manusanang Bhutto Bhagavati. Okay, with the lower body and hands and arms comfortable, and the upper body erect, just close the eyes and start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Here you're just looking to establish the breath, a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. Not forced or controlled, just a gradual inhale through the nose, experiencing the full breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Your breath may not match up with the guidance that I'm providing, and that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here for guidance. You can use this voice as a reminder that whenever you get to the next inhale, breathing gradually through the nose, developing a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose, experiencing the full breath. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the breath well established, start fixating the mind on the breath, either the sound of the breath coming into the nose or the sensation of air moving over the skin into the nose. The breath is the present moment. Fixate the mind on the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the mind fixated on the breath, whenever you notice that it moves off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. No need to observe the thought, label it, judge it, analyze it, or even try to figure out where it's coming from. Whenever you notice that the mind is moved off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I'm going to be quiet now and let you do this work of focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. You have nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. No one needs you right now. This is your time to focus on the breath. Breathing in and out. Arahang Sama Sambuddho Emakewa Potang Makewanhang Apiwateyami Savakato Emakewata Tammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Emakewato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa Iti piso emakewa Arahang Sama Sambuddho Vicacaranang samuno Sakato rokawitu Anutero purisa Dhamma sati satatawa manusarang Poto Bhagavati. Okay, if you guys would like to slowly make your way out of meditation. Once again, welcome to everyone in our class today. Nice to see everyone here. What I'm going to do here with the rest of our time, whatever you guys would like to spend, just open up to any and all questions that you guys have, whether it's about meditation or any other aspect of the path to enlightenment, because as you're learning the Eightfold Path and all these other teachings from the previous classes, you might have had time to think about that, read the book, do things like this, and now you might have questions about that. So on Wednesdays, I tend to just kind of open up to any questions that students have. So if you'd like to ask questions, you can put that into Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom in the comments section. I'll be able to see that. Or in Zoom, you can electronically raise your hand and ask any and all questions that you like. Okay, so it looks like Leo has questions. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, everyone, and hello, David. My first question would be, you talked about this in a recent class. If someone comes to me and want to gossip or slander about someone else, I just wanted to clarify for me what would be the best case. I think you said, or someone said, changing the topic would be an option, going to the toilet, or just moving away. But for me also, just moving away seems not so nice, because this person, which is used to gossip, could misunderstand my moving away in a negative way. So yeah, I want to clarify for me what could be the best option here, or good options.
Yeah, all of those are actually good options. You know, some people take the approach that if somebody's gossiping and slandering, that if you stay in the conversation, or even remain to be friendly with this person in terms of like a relationship with this person, it's only a matter of time before this person's gossiping and slandering about you. If they're used to gossiping and slandering about people, then they're going to do that about the people around you. So in order to get to even the first stage of enlightenment, you're going to need to do what the Buddha described, which is associate with wholesome persons, and someone who's gossiping and slandering isn't doing things wholesome. You're going to need to eliminate your personal existence view where you have a desire for people to perceive you in a certain way, because just choosing to walk away from a conversation, you haven't done anything harmful. You haven't caused harm to anybody's physical body, to their material possessions, or to their reputation. And if they have any kind of negative feelings about that, that is being caused by their own mind. And just choosing to walk away, if someone starts judging you, if someone starts being bitter and hostile and harsh, that's all the more justification to show you that your choice was actually wise. Because oftentimes if you stay in the conversation, then they're just kind of thinking that, okay, this person's open to my gossip and slander, and this is somebody that I can gossip and slander with. The best option in most situations is to just walk away. But you could choose to change the subject. You could choose to get up, go to the bathroom, do something, and come back. It really depends on your relationship with this person and whether or not you're planning to maintain an ongoing relationship with this person or not.
And for me also, it seems like somehow making this person realize that I'm not interested in talking about other person. Couldn't I say this somehow? I think this sounds for me like this walking to the toilet or so on. This sounds fine, but to make somehow or that this person understands that I'm not interested in these kind of conversations. Maybe giving him a tip or something that he knows. Okay, with this guy we can talk about everything else, but maybe not about other people or slander about other people. Would there be a way, you think, without trying to, maybe you can say some words on that.
Yeah, so typically if you're trying to teach somebody, then it's going to meet with resistance because they have ego. That's the whole reason why they're gossiping and slandering to begin with. They have craving, desire, attachment. They have ill will. So if you try to give them unsolicited guidance about what they're doing is unwise, that's now coming from your craving and from your conceit because you're giving them unsolicited guidance. But one of the ways that I've done this in very rare occasions is I will speak about it in terms of me rather than tell them like, oh, it's unwise for you to gossip and slander, because that's giving them unsolicited guidance. If someone's gossiping and slandering, I might say something like, oh, I don't typically gossip and slander about people, and I'd rather talk about something else. Or I might say, oh, that's not something I usually talk about. I don't usually use gossip and slander towards people. I'd rather talk about these things over here. But the thing is they're going to see through that. They're going to know that what you're doing is you're basically telling them that they're gossiping and slandering. And then you have the potential for them to be angry and frustrated and agitated. And you're not causing that. It's their own mind because they have craving, they have ill will, and they have conceit. So this is where each situation's different, and you're going to need to look at the variables and decide for yourself, is this somebody who will heed your advice? Is this somebody who will listen? And is this someone who you can say these kinds of things to and they will take it respectfully? But in most cases, that's not the case because that ego's in there and your ego is going to be bucking up against their ego. And that's why it's better to just walk away from the situation and let them see the natural law of karma, that people just aren't interested in talking with them when they're gossiping and slandering.
Okay, I see. Would be also a way, because if I just move away, he also could get angry, right? It depends on the situation. What I think is best, maybe, if I know the person.
Yeah, you need to know the variables of the situation, and they can get angry when you choose to walk away because of their craving, desire, attachment. But again, you're not causing that. And at this stage in your development, you would like to protect your own mind, So you need to protect your doorways to discontentedness. So if you do some of these things that is possible for you to do, when you get to like the third and fourth stage of enlightenment, when you're really skillful and you have control of your mind and saying things, with a smile and like, oh, I really don't like to gossip and slander. It's not something that I really do. There's probably some other topics that we can talk about besides this. You can do it with a very cheerful and bright and uplifted disposition. Oftentimes you can't do that until you're like in the third or fourth stage of enlightenment. So at this stage where you're definitely not in the first stage of enlightenment yet, you would like to protect your own mind. So that's why choosing to walk away is oftentimes the best thing to be able to do, is just walk away from the situation. And then now this person understands that, hey, natural law of karma, maybe they will be able to see it, that people aren't interested in talking to them when they gossip. You get to protect your mind and walk away. You're not having your ears open to this gossip and influencing your mind. Because I've seen people that choose to not necessarily gossip with the person, but I've seen people go to someone who is gossiping and slandering. And now when they've just kind of listened to their gossip and slander, that influenced their mind in a negative way. And it caused them to make unwise decisions, because it's like that discourse that the Buddha shares with you about the snake that goes through feces, that this snake won't bite you, but it'll smear you with feces. So an individual who isn't even gossiping, I've seen someone talk with someone who was gossiping and slandering, and it influenced their mind in a negative way and ended up causing their conceit to arise and become very judgmental. And then when your conceit's arising, it's actually harming yourself when you're judging other people and becoming arrogant and prideful and things like this. So one of the best things you would like to do, particularly in these early times of the development of your life practice, is protect your mind, protect your doorways, and by walking away, that's what you're choosing to do. Same thing if someone's being argumentative or hostile or bitter, is choosing to walk away is oftentimes the best thing to do, because I don't suspect that you can be very skillful in these kinds of situations at this point in time, but this is a decision that you would need to make for yourself. I can't tell you, plug and play exactly what to do in each situation, because they're all different. But in general, you're not interested in gossiping and slandering. You can get up and leave. You can change the subject. You can, do those kinds of things. But there are some other skillful things that people sometimes do, but you got to be very skillful when you're doing these things.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have a big example of that. It just was on a small party. I had an old friend, and he, I think that was actually not gossip. So there also, maybe you could help me to see what exactly is gossip, because he just told me that this guy there, the other guy there, he's sometimes really harsh and hostile to the other community members, and this is something that bothers me. He told me this, would that be gossip or slander?
Yeah, that's gossip and slander, because he's talking in a negative way about other people and damaging that person's reputation. And the Buddha teaches that if somebody's so willing to talk about other people's unwholesome qualities, that they themselves are an unwholesome person, and it would be unwise to associate with that type of individual. And also, now that you tell me that this was from a party that you were at, these types of individuals, there's probably alcohol around, there could potentially be other drugs and things like this. They're definitely not on the path to enlightenment. It's really unwise to try to do anything skillful in those kinds of situations. And that's one of the reasons why it's unwise to go to places where they're having drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, because you're going to encounter, a certain amount of gossip and slander, unwholesome conduct that can influence you in a negative way.
Okay. Yeah, for me, actually, this conversation was interesting, because I also know the other people there, and this particular other person, he told me that, and I was like, oh, okay. And I asked him more questions. Okay, well, why he's doing, or something like that. But the best would be just move away. Don't be involved in this kind. I wasn't gossiping or something, but it was just interesting to hear what other people think about other people, So there was more than the interest to stay in this conversation or just listen what he has to share. But it would be best to just move away. that he can also learn that this is not wise and so on.
Yeah, you'll get to the point where you're disinterested in hearing other people belittle and slander and gossip about others. You'll get to the point where you're just disinterested in even hearing that. Because let me give you a scenario how just listening to gossip and slander can actually produce unwholesome karma for you. Because now that you tell me you're at a party, like say you're standing somewhere with a person and they're gossiping and slandering. And say there's some other people that are close by and they can hear what this person's saying. And then now those people know that you're standing there listening to this person gossiping and slandering. And this can damage your reputation for people seeing and hearing that you're hanging out with someone who's gossiping and slandering. And now those people know you to be somebody who's essentially participating in gossip and slander because they're not hearing the entire conversation. They're just hearing a portion of it, perhaps. And now they're associating that conversation with you. And now it damages your reputation. So by just choosing to walk away, it protects your mind, it protects your reputation, because with personal existence view, a person's going to crave and desire to be perceived by others in a certain way. But there's also the understanding that you would like to maintain a wholesome reputation in the community. You don't need to crave and long and yearn for that and become discontent when people are thinking in negative ways about you. But you would like to navigate the world and make wise decisions that you're not associating with unwholesome people, because it will damage your reputation. And now it affects you both personally and professionally when you're trying to make forward progress in life.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Then I wanted to ask, do you have an example for clinging to the consciousness? For me, it's difficult to grasp what all belongs to consciousness. It's still difficult for me to understand consciousness, what fits in that and so on.
Yeah, the consciousness is the mind. So clinging to the consciousness is clinging to anything that is inside the mind. Thoughts, ideas, feelings, decisions, perceptions, your self-identity, all those kinds of things.
Okay. So when we talk about the 5 aggregates, actually the perceptions, choice and decisions, all these points are already in the consciousness.
Yeah, the feelings, perceptions, volitional formations, those are all inside the consciousness. And the mind can actually cling to all of these things. Clinging to the consciousness itself oftentimes is being referred to as clinging to the self-identity, like I am German, I don't know what you consider yourself, Leo. Is it like a lumberjack or something? What do you used to do? Agriculture.
What is it?
What is your job or occupation you used to do? It's like some kind of agriculture or something, right?
Forestry or agriculture,
yeah.
Agriculture.
So one of the layman's ways of saying that is like a lumberjack. That's what we usually say.
Okay.
Someone who cuts down trees in the forest, right? So those are the kinds of things that you could potentially cling to. Like I am a kind person. You could cling to this as your identity. All of these different I am. That's part of clinging to the consciousness, which isn't one of the feelings. It's not a perception necessarily. It's not a volitional formation, but it's this identity that the mind is clinging to within the consciousness.
Okay. And I wanted to ask, putting pressure on myself, there is no self, but putting pressure on myself or perceiving that others are putting pressure out and addressing it to me, is that part of my personal existence view, or is it personal existence view?
If you're perceiving other people as putting pressure on you, what is happening there is whatever cravings, desires, attachments they have, that they are attempting to put expectations on you and try to pressure you, you're now adopting that as your own cravings, desires, attachments, and you're actually putting pressure on yourself, because nobody can put pressure on me. If somebody started to try to put expectations on me, I would just walk away from the conversation. I have no issues in walking away from a conversation. I'm not clinging to it. I'm not clinging to how this person perceives me. I'm not worried about this person perceiving me in a certain way. If they would like to continue to have conversations and be friendly, okay, that's fine with me. If they choose not to be friendly with me and have conversations, okay, that's fine with me too. But when you're experiencing pressure, what we say is pressure from other people, it's really actually coming from your own mind, because this person is attempting to put expectations on you and your mind's trying to adopt that as your own expectations of yourself. And now this is the central desire that the mind is putting. Whenever we're talking about craving, desire, attachment, it's central desire. But their personal existence view is craving, desire, attachment, but it's just a unique type of craving, desire, attachment. It's associated with clinging to how people perceive you. So central desire is a way to generally talk about all craving, desire, attachment, but then there's very specific cravings in terms of like personal existence view or desire for form, desire for formless. The ego, the conceit even has craving, desire, attachment in there. Even when you're experiencing restlessness or any of these other things, even ignorance, the mind is clinging to false views and false beliefs and opinions and things like this. So there's craving and desire in all of these things, but you need to be able to look at the individual topic in the way the mind's processing it to determine whether it's personal existence view, or is it purely central desire, or is it some other craving that is categorized with a different fetter.
Okay. I just remember that in the past when I was working in the agriculture field, that sometimes I put a lot of pressure on me, that I thought, I need to make a good job here, or I missed this hour because I did a mistake, and so much work now I have to do to get to this point back, or these kind of things, or I think he might be not happy with my work because I'm too slow, or I had this pressure, is there a part of personal existence view that I think there's a me and this person who needs to make a good job, and it's more about this example.
Yeah, so now that you're giving more information, I can help you further. So if you're worried about how your boss is going to perceive you, for example, right? And you're worried about him or her perceiving you in a negative light, that's your personal existence view. But if you're worried about the money, that now you're not going to get paid as much, that's the central desire, clinging to this money, right? So this is how you can dissect it to be able to see what fetters are really involved. And oftentimes there's more than one fetter involved in these kinds of situations.
Okay. Thank you. Then last question, just I'm interested if you guys in Thailand have a social security, something like that, or does it not exist there?
I'm sorry, can you say that again? Your audio is getting muffled.
I wanted to ask if you guys have in Thailand a social security where you get money from the government. For example, if you get old, right?
Yeah.
You worked for 50 years and now you get your, I don't know how you call it, you get a bit money from the government.
I don't know, because I'm not a Thai citizen, and if there's something like that, I don't participate in it because I'm not a Thai citizen. It would be a question to ask a Thai person.
Okay. Well, yeah, thank you. That's all of my questions. Thank you for answering.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. I don't see any questions anywhere else. So what I'm going to do then is just end class by thanking all of you guys for joining. Thank you for your interest to learn and grow and develop on the path, whether you're listening to this live or you're watching on the replay or listening on the replay. Thank you all for being dedicated to learn and practice and develop your mind on the path to enlightenment. On Sunday, we're going to be in the third part of our 3-part series on the Eightfold Path. I'm going to be teaching the mental discipline section of right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And then next week on Wednesday, I'm going to be doing the 4th part of a 4-part series on this breathing mindfulness meditation, where once again, I will just do breathing mindfulness meditation with you guys and then open up to any and all questions that you might have. So thank you all for joining, and perhaps I'll see you guys in one of these future classes. Be well and take care. Sawadee krap.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To provide support for this podcast, visit patreon.com/support Buddha. To access more teachings, visit buddhadailywisdom.com. There, you will discover a full range of courses, retreats, and online resources to assist you on the path to enlightenment. Remember to establish a daily, consistent meditation practice, along with learning and practicing these teachings. A well-developed meditation practice is the foundation in which to train the mind to attain enlightenment.